He endorsed me. You know, do you know that Mitch endorsed me, right?
Well,
You think that was easy? What?
He had polio, obviously, and
I don't know. I don't know anything about he had polio. He had polio.
Are you doubting that he had polio?
It immediately, this is how it starts. It starts off bad right away.
Prices go up.
Excuse me, we haven't asked you to speak yet, please. Right?
I love that.
Okay.
I'm talking. Today, I watched all day today. This part I loved the best.
I asked him earlier in the Oval Office if he trusts the Russian leader, and this is what he said, Jake.
Is this what he said? Clinton Jaws, I don't even know where to start. I just want to jump right into it. You don't even have to subscribe this time. This CNN host has become the next Jim Acosta. And Trump and the press secretary are all over her. Just yesterday, she got shredded by the press secretary. And now today, for 10 minutes straight, maybe I'm a sicko, but I'm loving this. I'm going to show you, basically, it's not, I'm shrinking it into 10 minutes. But for 10 minutes straight, they go back and forth. Trump and her go back and forth. And Trump shreds her. After their embarrassing interaction, she goes on CNN and tells you about the experience. You got to watch it. And at the very, very end, I'm throwing in something great. I seen something great today. He does another conference. Apparently, he likes this reporter because this reporter asks a great question. And he legitimately, genuinely laughs. I never see him laugh. And I'm throwing it in there because you got to see it. It's at the very end. Stick around. It immediately, this is how it starts. It starts off bad right away. Like, this girl does not stand a chance. She doesn't stand a chance. Kaitlan Collins, CNN. She used to be a Republican, and now she's a liberal because of the money.
Prices go up.
Excuse me, we haven't asked you to speak yet, please. Right?
I love that.
Okay.
I'm talking.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
He wasn't like
Go
this
ahead.
in
Yeah.
court.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mr. President, you are
Not
meeting
you.
Prime
Not
Minister
you,
Modi
idiot.
of India this afternoon.
He ignores her right off the bat, and then he goes to the next question. You can hear her in the background.
Can't talk because these people get it. They're very smart people. We need smart people. Yes. Brian?
On tariffs, sir.
Yeah, Brian.
Brian.
Yes, sir. Mr.
Brian.
President, I know that during the
And we want that business back. We want it back in the United States. And if they don't bring it back, we're not going to be very happy.
Sir, on tariffs, are you...
pharmaceuticals as well
Brian,
in China.
Brian,
That's national security to bring that back.
I'm not talking
China
to you.
and other places.
Unless I
we
have
want
to.
get
It gets
the
really good here.
pharmaceutical. I have a big heart.
Sir, on Ukraine, when Putin says that he really wants peace, do you believe him?
Yeah, I do. I believe he wants peace. I believe that President Putin, when
Right
I
here.
spoke to him yesterday, I mean, I know him very well. Yeah, I think he wants peace. I think he would tell me if he didn't.
Do you trust him?
I think I'd like to see peace.
Do you trust President
I
Putin?
believe that, I believe that he would like to see something happen. I trust him on this subject. I think he'd like to see something happen. I think it could have happened a long time ago. I think Biden, number one, it shouldn't have started, but it did. And now all those cities are knocked down like demolition sites. All those beautiful golden towers are knocked down. There's nothing going to
Squirrel.
replace them. But much more importantly, you lost millions of people. A lot of soldiers, but you lost millions of people. When they knocked down those cities, and they're all laying down on the side,
Wait
they're
for it.
lying down just in ashes and all crumbled up concrete. They literally look like a world-class demolition site. And many of them, almost all of them, but many of them, and this should have been done by Biden years ago. This should have never been allowed to happen. I know he's a friend of yours.
But couldn't Putin just withdraw his
He's a friend of
troops today?
CNN. That's why nobody watches CNN anymore, because they have no credibility. Okay, who else? Yes, please.
Yeah.
You can find a buyer
I'm
in
done
the United
talking to
States for
you.
TikTok. Do you think Xi Jinping will authorize
It gets
the sale of
good.
it, or will
Watch this. Priceless.
To play games. Those countries won't trade with us. We won't trade with them. And If any trading gets through, it'll be 100% tariff at least.
On your
What would
cabinet,
be your-
You know what? When they hear that, what do you think they're going to do?
You hear?
They're going to say, "Look what happened to BRICS." They didn't want to talk
What a
about it.
way
They don't
to
even want to
make a
admit
buck.
that they were a member of BRICS. That's what's happened.
On your cabinet, sir, we saw Robert F. Kennedy Jr. get confirmed. He's going to come in here and be sworn in. Mitch McConnell has now voted against several of your nominees. He voted against RFK Jr. as the next health secretary, citing conspiracy theories. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I feel sorry for Mitch. And I was one of the people that led. He wanted to go to the end and he wanted to stay leader. He's not equipped mentally. He wasn't equipped 10 years ago mentally, in my opinion. He'd let the Republican Party go to hell. If I didn't come along, the Republican Party wouldn't even exist right now. Mitch McConnell never really had it. He had an ability to raise money because of his position as leader, which anybody could do. You could do it even, and that's saying a lot. But the fact is that he raised money and he gave a lot of money to senators, and so he had a little loyalty based on the fact that as leader you could raise a lot of money. Senators would call me and they say, he wants to give me 20, 25 million. Can I take it? I'd say, take the money. Take the money. But he engendered a certain amount of, I don't even call it loyalty. He was able to get votes. But I was the one that got him to drop out of the leadership position, so he can't love me. But he's not voting against Bobby. He's voting against me, but that's all right. He endorsed me. Do you know that Mitch endorsed me, right?
Well, he did
You
have
think that was
polio,
easy?
and
What?
He had polio, obviously, and his.
I don't know. I don't know anything about he had polio. He had polio.
Are you doubting that he had polio?
I have no idea if
Are
he
you
had
doubting
polio.
it?
All I can tell you about him
Tell
is
me you're
that
doing
he
it.
shouldn't have been leader. He knows that. He voted against Bobby. He votes against almost everything now. He's a very bitter guy, and we have a very strong party, and he's almost not even really a very powerful member. I'd say he's not he's lost his power, and it's affected his vote. And it's one of those things. But in the meantime, Bobby did great, got more votes than anybody thought, and I think he's going to do phenomenally, just phenomenally in that position.
Kaitlan Collins doesn't stand a chance. The press secretary yesterday, I was going to do a video about it, absolutely destroys her. And then Kaitlan Collins goes on CNN and responds to it. I'm going to show you this right now. We're at a tough time right now with the economy, and it has the makings for a perfect storm. Medicare, Social Security, it's on the verge of collapse. The national debt is out of control. The cost of living, through the roof. The largest generation is retiring. You need to protect yourself. That's why I'm telling you about my friends at Birch Gold Group. Gold is a safe haven in these hard economic times, and they make it easy. Diversifying your IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered gold IRA, and it costs nothing to do this. Protect your future today. Text JAWS to 989898 and get your free info kit from Birch Gold and a copy of the ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era with foreword by Donald Trump Jr. No obligation, just information. With an A+ rating from the BBB, Birch Gold has earned the trust of thousands of Americans looking to safeguard their retirement savings. Don't wait until it's too late. Text my name, JAWS, to 989898. Scan the QR code on the screen if you like, or click the link in the description. Do this today. It's the only thing I care about.
I just
Listen
don't
to
want to
this.
get ahead of him on it.
Go,
And last
Caitlin.
thing for you, which White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter from the Oval Office and the diplomatic reception room last night?
Well, first of all, let me just set the record straight. It is a privilege to cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary. And nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the President of the United States questions. That's an invitation that is given. And there are hundreds of outlets on this campus, many of you in this room who don't have the privilege of being part of that pool every single day and getting to ask the President questions. We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office, and you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
But isn't retaliatory in nature is the argument, because the reason that the AP was barred, which they said was because they're not using the phrase Gulf of America, they're using Gulf of Mexico in line with their standards. And so the question here is this setting a precedent that this White House will retaliate against reporters who don't use the language that you guys believe reporters should use? And how does that align with the First Amendment commitment that you were just talking about?
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. And I'm not sure why news outlets don't want to call it that.
Why wouldn't you?
That is what it is. The Secretary of Interior has made that the official designation in the geographical identification name server. And Apple has recognized that. Google has recognized that. Pretty much every other outlet in this room has recognized that body of water as the Gulf of America. And it's very important to this administration that we get that right, not just for people here at home, but also for the rest of the world. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. The prisoner exchange with Russia coming at the same time as the president is now announcing negotiations.
I don't know. Do you feel good about yourself doing that job? God, talk about humiliating. And then she goes on CNN to talk about it, right? Let's watch.
In Ukraine. And as we were discussing this, Jake, one key question here has been what Putin intends to do, because the president has portrayed it and said that during their call, Putin told him he wants peace. I asked him earlier in the Oval Office if he trusts the Russian leader, and this is what he said, Jake.
Is this what he said?
I'd like to see peace.
Do you trust
Do you trust President
I believe that, I believe that he would like to see something happen. I trust him on this subject.
You forgot the part where he called you an idiot. Of course you're going to skip that part. I don't know. I found it funny. Here's a bonus. I watched all day today. This part I loved the best. Take a look.
In that context, I'd like to ask you a question about, in last few years, we have seen several groups in the U.S. raising anti-India voice, calling about separation, terrorism activities in India. Do you think that should continue here in the U.S. as well?
Just watch this part.
You're going to have to go louder.
Mr. President, people in India would be welcoming your decision to extradite Tahabur Rana to...
I can't understand a word he's saying.
May I,
You
sir?
can't say that.
May I? May I, sir?
Go ahead, back there.
Mr. President, thank you.
Listen to this.
First, I want to ask
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was the only opportunity in his entire life, and Trump can't understand him. Thank you very much. You know he's going home to... But this is the part here. Here's the question that I got a kick out of because of Trump's response.
Go ahead, back there.
Mr. President, thank you. First, I want to ask
Thank you very much.
question. You and the president, you both spoke about combating ISIS. You both sounded very excited about this partnership upcoming. And I was curious, how much more confident are you with President Trump leading this country that there will be peace through strength and you will have a successful partnership with the United States versus with Biden's incompetence and weakness over the last 4 years?
That's your question, but I'll answer it. I agree with you. Gross incompetence. We're going to have a fantastic relationship, and it has been. Look, the whole world's been set back over the last 4 years by the weakness of the United States, the weak leadership of the United States. But I think we've taken care of it in just 3 weeks. It seems to me that even some of the media that we wouldn't prefer has been writing that this is a much different country right now, that the world has a light over it. Not only our country, but the whole world. The Prime Minister told me that before, too, even over India. The world has a light. They need the United States to be strong and powerful, but good. And I think that's happened, and I think it's happened in a very short period of time. But I will tell you, we're going to have a fantastic relationship, and it'll make both countries much stronger.
I don't know. Guys, it makes me feel good to know that this man is in charge, and we are about to have America being the strongest country again. You wait. Mark my words. After 4 years of this guy, we are going to be kingpin. And that's what we need to keep our families safe, everybody safe. And I won't go off. But Birch Gold, I believe in the company. Text JAWS to 989898. It's the only thing I care about. Bye-bye.